Alrighty, let's keep building our TT-02.
One other thing I should have mentioned at the start. Even though you look at your bags and go, yep, everything's out, every now and then you might get some small screw washer you need that might get stuck in a corner, and just under the light you won't be able to really see it. So before you go throwing out all the bags, just leave them in the box or one of the bigger bags that you open up first, throw all them in there, and if you happen to be missing something, you can just double check later and make sure it's not in a bag. Okay, our next step is now going to be the steering assembly, and for this we'll need B12, which is on the pass-through for the bumper. Also need 4 of these, actually we'll need more, 4. We'll need these plastic balls that are on here, and we'll also need A3, which are these ones. Okay, same with these little balls. You want these to be as smooth as possible. Of course that will affect your steering if you don't get these smoothed off. Another option is you can get aftermarket metal versions of these, so they won't have the plastic markings on them from where they come off the tree. But as long as you clean these up nice and tidy, the steering on this car will work quite fine. Alright, and when you look at this part, there's 2 different sides. This one here has a slightly more closed off hole. The other side is hard to tell, but there's a slight groove where it's a little bit bigger. You want to put the balls in through that side. Pair of pliers, and they click in pretty easily. If it's really difficult, have a close look. You might be trying to put it in the other side. Okay, now we want 2 3x12 screws, which are the slightly longer silver ones. And this part here, A3, you want the one that sticks up at the back. You get your arm, drop the screw in it, one at the back, one, and the other one with the high part at the back. Actually give these just a quarter of a turn back off. It'll let the balls even spin in the spindles just a little bit. So now we want those 2 longer step screws, and also 2 metal washers. So you can do these one at a time. So I want to put the step screw through first, and the washer on. We also need 2 more of the 3x12s to connect the outside ones to the steering knuckles. The instructions also want you to put this bit of foam here underneath where the servo goes. In the bottom there's actually a diagram of how big it should be. This will stop gunk getting into your servo saver, and that will go down there. Okay, next step. You want to connect up your radio system with the speed controller, the receiver and servo, and center it. Now we need our servo set. So they give you 2 sizes. They give you one for Tamiya and Tamiya, and Savox, which is the same size, and the other one for KO and Senwa. So all we do is set up like the instructions show, servo on that side, get your connector on so that the little tab is as close to pointing straight down as possible. And it sits on there. We also need bag C. So I don't know where we got up to before that blacked out. I didn't see that. So we've got our balls in this part. We've got our 3x12 screws out. We now need the bridge to connect it all. I think the easiest way to do this will be to spin nice and freely on there. I'm starting to loosen up a bit now. And then the other half goes in the back of where the servo saver comes up. Now we need A12, two of them to connect the servo. That's this part down here. And this one we need 3x8 screws. So these little guys here, and a couple more washers. As you can see from the instructions, the servo's mounts go on with the curved bit here at the front of the servo, like that. A screw and a washer. Two on. Then we use two 3x10 flathead screws. 3 flathead screws that we need for this, because we also do need to put the aerial mounts on. And I normally don't with 2.4. I generally feel safe enough just to do it without the aerial up. And look through the bottom of the chassis, you'll be able to see the holes line up. You may just have to, depending on your servo. Just loosen them up just half a turn. This will let them move around so you can get it all lined up. Okay, so that's the servo screwed down. It's a bit tricky to try and do that holding in front of the camera. I just have to do it quickly off there. Okay, now you can connect up all your steering parts, which is with another 2 of the step screws. That'll be in this last bag. 1, 2. To do this, just line up your steering arm. Start with one or the other. Now it's all connected up and moving. So next we need D12. That one there. Also going to build our mount for over the motor cover. So I'm not going to worry about the aerial mount, but it just goes in this hole in the chassis. You can see me covering up. So you can mount your aerial on there, but being 2.4, you really don't need that much of it unless you're going to be driving a very long distance away. It's pretty much unnecessary these days. So instead of doing that, I'm going to make up the motor cover. Okay, next we'll need a small screwdriver again. I don't know if that stopped recording, I have a feeling it might have. So we've mounted the on-off switch onto the top motor cover. Now we're going to use a 3x10 on the inside. 3x12 on the outside. Okay, then we can do all our wiring. You want to fold the two motor wires with their tabs just over a little bit so they give you plenty of space. Get your servo wire out of the way. Make sure you've got plenty of room to mount up your speed controller. So it'll just sit there. And you can use some of your double-sided tape, which they give you. Pretty much the right length. I won't even cut that along the bottom of the speed controller. And just make sure you get all your wires out in the clear so that you can put them where you want them. Mount it up pretty much against, not totally against, but nice and near the servo so it's away from the motor. Next you want to do the same with your receiver. It's a little bit long, so I'll cut that one down. It just sits on top of your servo. Right, now I'll just connect up all the wires to where they go. Alright, got the cable tied together so at least they're not hanging everywhere. It's always one of my least favourite parts of doing cars is getting the cables out of the way. I'm never really happy with how they go. The aerial wire, I'm just going to twist around here. There's 2.4, it doesn't seem to interfere like the old radios used to. Alright, leave that bit there for now. Now we move on to the wheels and tyres. Alright, I'll snap these off. Well, they do normally go pretty cleanly. Let's give a quick little clean up. Right, and then just gonna put on the tyres. The instructions do say to glue these, which is always a good idea for your running tyres. That this is going to be the shelf queen tyres for this body. I've got another set of rims and tyres that are mounted up. They're much stickier rubber. So these ones I'll just use to look pretty when it's sitting on the shelf so they're not scratched up all that. Okay, 4 tyres and wheels. Now we do our bearings that are left over. So we've got all our bits and pieces. What I'll do is put a bearing in. Need that as well. Also need the 4 shallow wheel hubs, wheel hexes. There's 2 long ones on here for other types of cars. I just want the 2 narrow ones off each tree. So anyway, we've got our bearing in there. Take one of your drive pins, push it through, one of your wheel hexes, and so it goes on. One wheel. There's one wheel. Do that with the other 4. Okay, now I've got all 4 wheels on. make sure that all the drive pins connected. Just hold one wheel at each end and turn the other wheel, and it should turn the center shaft. If the wheel just spins and it doesn't turn the drive shaft when you're holding the other one, you've missed one of the pins or it's slipped out, and just double check it. Alright, last bit. On to the last few steps now. Now, body posts, which are these ones. We'll also need, to go back and get it, one of the bumper holders. Obviously at the front we'll have the shorter two. That's the body mounts on. Now we need our foam bumper. That part is on the front. And then one of the holders sits over the top of it. And they're held on by two 3x10s. Okay, now we need our battery holder. Give it a test. Our two large body clips that come in the earlier bag. And connected. On the radio first, that's ready to go. On the car, and then when you take it outside, you can just adjust your steering, fine tune it. That looks pretty good there. Okay, so that all works. Turn back off, car first. And the radio. Make sure you unplug your battery. At the end of when you're using it. And the last thing. Oh, that is the last thing. Last thing is to get your body instructions and do it up. So I'll get the body ready and trimmed up and painted, and then we'll be back with the final product.